right, welcome to the Experience Better video podcast series. I'm Josh Beekler, and with me today from the Balance Mobility Center here in Grand Island, Justin Krull, a PT. So, hello Justin, thanks for coming.
Yeah, you bet, no problem.
Tell us a little bit about shoe wear. What do
All
you
right,
see with
so
shoes?
I'm a big shoe snob.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of people with chronic pain problems, and I tell them the first day when they come in and, you know, really like flip-flops or really kind of weak shoes, I tell them, you know, the shoes are your foundation. I mean, it's like if you're going to build your house, don't build it on the sand. You want to build it on the rocks so that that everything can coordinate afterwards. Because when your foot hits the ground, the mechanics that happen from there on affects your knees, affects your hips, affects your back, it affects everything. You know, if you're working and you're standing all day long, what you wear for shoes makes a huge difference, because when your foot kind of caves in, if the shoes are real weak and your foot rolls in, your knees roll in, your hips roll in, and in order for you not falling forward on your face, you got to extend your back out. So you put a ton of pressure through your low back if you're not in good shoes.
Right.
I also tell you know, and we live in a world where the ground is hard everywhere you go. I mean, you know, back in the old days when you had dirt and everything you walked on, it was a little bit different. But you know, like in my clinic here, it's, you know, it's pretty tight weaved carpeting and it's cement underneath it. And, you know, if you're in a store or in a factory, you're standing on cement all day long. So the ground forces pushing into you are high. It's going to give you some stress and strain through your joints.
Sure.
So you've got to have good shoes underneath your feet.
So what does that mean? What is a good shoe?
So luckily you've got really crummy shoes.
Yeah, but
so,
they look cool.
well, they look cool, but so I have a list. There's a group of therapists in the Lincoln area that every year the shoe companies send them their shoes, and so they'll analyze their shoes and they're looking for certain features to the shoe that would make it on their list. So I have a list of probably 20 different shoes that these guys have gone through, and so I'll sit down with the patient that day and I'll say, well, you know, looking at your foot, looking at your mechanics, I think this shoe would be better, but hey, go to one of the shoe stores and try them on. If you find a shoe that you like, then they're great. I said, once you get the shoe, come back in here, let's look and make sure that it's the right shoe for you, because, you know, I'm asking you to make an investment of probably about $120 to $140. I always tell people too that, you know, the companies make their money off of their cheaper shoes because they can sell them in greater quantity to the masses, but they make their name off of their more expensive shoes.
Sure.
That, you know, they put their effort and their money in, and they know that there's only a set amount of people that'll buy a $140 pair of tennis shoes, and there's more people who buy a $70 pair of tennis shoes. But if you're coming in and seeing me, you probably need to be getting $140 tennis shoes. So luckily I got one of the shoes on. So Asics is a brand that tends to make some decent shoes. So what you want in a shoe is you want that back to not push down real well. You want it to be a pretty firm back shoe. You want the shoe to bend in the toe box through here. You don't want it to bend through the mid shoe. So right in here it needs to be pretty firm and pretty supportive. You need to have this heel cup that can lock your shoe and lock your ankle in pretty well. If your shoe generally can fold up like a taco, probably not good. So that being said, Josh has got some Nikes on. So these are like a minimalist shoe, which were really popular a few years ago. You know, everything wanted to go to the barefoot running. They wanted to go to minimal weight, because the thought is the more weight, the more stress you have on your back. And the other thought was, you know, like the African runners and those guys that win all these long distance championships.
They run barefoot.
They run barefoot. Well, a lot of those people never had shoes, so they learned to run barefoot. And then what happens? So these guys win like a marathon, and they were, you know, barefoot runners. They get sponsored by a shoe company and they get shoes, so they get out of them. So, and also you got to look at too, if you're in an environment that's like got sand and rock and you're running outside, yeah, go barefoot. That's whatever. I wouldn't, but you could. But now these guys are running on cement, and they're going to get beat up without proper shoe wear. So this shoe, look, it can just fold the back down like nothing, and I can just ball the thing up just like a taco shell. So this would be good if you're going to the beach or you're going outside or doing something. This would not be good at all if you're running on cement or if you're standing in an office all day long.
Sure. Well, thank you. I appreciate you calling out my footwear today. That was really nice. And, you know, but you're right. You know, I generally don't have much for problems or pain and that kind of stuff. So that's maybe a little bit of a difference in that, you know, people who generally don't have problems can maybe get by with something a little bit cheaper. However, we're all better off for having the appropriate shoe wear and the best fitting and the best supportive shoe of what we should be in, depending on our foot type.
And they make a million different shoes out there, and the thing that's frustrating to me is that, you know, a company will make a really good shoe, and then the next year, like the minimalist that we're talking about, the next year they'll make the same shoe with the same name, but then they'll take out all the good guts to it, and now kind of a bad shoe. So
yep. So very good to have somebody in the know who knows what good shoes are. Justin knows what those good shoes are. So if you have any questions about shoes, he's your guy here at the Balance and Mobility Center. So thanks, Justin, for shaming me with my shoe wear and educating us about shoes. So
you bet. Anytime I can do that, I'll definitely do it.
Sounds good.